Welcome back to Making God Number One in Your Business, the show where Christian business owners from around the world join us to share how they have integrated faith with their business practices. I'm your host, maurirene. Let's get started. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the maurirene Show, Making God Number One in Your Business. Today, we have the honor of having Julia Langley back in the studio. I'm so excited to have you back, Julia.
I'm so happy
Thank
to be here.
you. It was an honor to have you the first time, and now I get blessed with the second time. Julia Langley was a singer for Cirque du Soleil for many years. She has 15,000 stage hours. I can't even imagine. I hope they weren't all in high heels.
Oh, yeah, that's a funny one. And most of them are.
I figured so. Oh my gosh, I'm just imagining it. Anyway, Julia has so much stage experience, singing experience, confidence experience. The list goes on. She has helped so many people with stage fright, stage confidence, getting over that. She has helped people to be better speakers, better singers, you name it. Julia has it on going on, that's for sure. And we're going to hear a whole lot more from her today. I can't wait. So, Julia, tell us a little bit more because there's a lot more I could have said, but I'd rather hear it from you.
Oh my goodness. Well, my life has been a journey indeed. And yeah, I feel like it's just, how you feel like you're calling in life. And I have two. One's being on the stage, and the second one is showing others how to be on the stage at their highest version of themselves. So yeah, it's part of my life, part of who I am. And I can't even imagine the journey of my life. It would be very different without it, for sure. So it's gonna be exciting to see going forward, how it expands and how it grows, because it's changed so much through the years. I started out in church, went on, to be with Cirque du Soleil for, 18 plus years, actually, and then stepped into the next version of myself as a speaker and singer and, a coach, coaching others really how to be, when I started, it was all about the vocals, about using your vocal power and your vocal skills. But I started seeing all of these transformations in the people that I was working with. And I started to realize that it was not just about the vocals, that's part of it, but it was really more about the confidence piece of it, about really helping people discover their unique version of themselves and learning how to express that with their voice. So that's really how it evolved into what I'm doing today. And so it's grown, mushroomed, if you will, into something really exciting and really special.
How did you notice that the confidence was really the big key factor with all of these people as you were, training them and working with them? What was the key to that?
Well, what I started seeing, because I've been a vocal coach, and let me go back just a second. When I was working for Cirque du Soleil, when I wasn't traveling all the time performing, I was a vocal coach, and that's a piano and vocal teacher is really what I was doing and helping people. But what I started seeing was that clients were staying with me a really long time, which is a wonderful thing. I had a lot of client loyalty, which is great. And I started seeing this evolution, and not just in them as performers or singers or speakers or whatever, but just in their whole life. I started seeing them step into another level of themselves. So by doing that, they were discovering their gifts, number one. They were actually, and when I say gifts, that's a very kind of a cliche thing to say nowadays. So let me be more specific. They were discovering their unique strengths. Everyone is a little different. And sometimes finding what you're best at can be a little convoluted. Like we get a little confused about it. So it's really pinpointing in what you're really good at and finding out what you're really challenged with and pulling the challenges back and those strengths forward and really exercising A lot of mindset changes, a lot of taking risks and challenges to really become more bold. When they started doing this, not only did they start taking chances on stage and making decisions on stage, but they started doing it outside of the stage. They started doing their personal lives as well. So
Wow.
I would see people who didn't have hardly any friends all of a sudden find their tribe. I would see people who didn't know kind of where they fit in. They always felt insecure or nervous around other people. All of a sudden, they're like a superstar because they found a gift that they had and they started using that gift and they started becoming more recognized for that gift. And all of a sudden, they feel like they have worth in the community that they never felt like they had a way to contribute before. People started looking at them differently. And And the more confident they became, the bigger risks they took. So it sort of feeds into itself. Um, they found their place, like whether it be in theater, whether it be thought leadership on stage, training people. I started seeing this transform. And that's when I realized it's it's more than just learning how to use vocal skills. It's more than learning how to use your voice. It's really learning what your voice is and how to execute that, learning who you are and how to express it.
It's interesting the changes that happen when you start working with someone. I myself, for those of you in the audience don't know, I am one of Julia's clients. And when I first went to her, it was because I wasn't really sure if I was coming across on my television show okay. I didn't really know what I was doing. I wasn't, like born to do this, and so I knew that she was great. She's come so highly recommended, and I got to know her, and I'm like, this woman can help me. And I was expecting her to like focus on my looks and like put more makeup on or something, or whatever, like sit a certain way. And you did talk to me about how to sit and position myself in the camera and things like that, because it does matter, whether you're far away or close up, things like that. But it went so much further for me. And in fact, I used to have, oh, I can't believe I'm admitting all of this, but I had this list of questions to ask people, and the people I was interviewing, and I was so concerned about the questions and getting it right on a time and all that. And she could see it when she went back and watched my shows. She could tell that's what I was doing. And it was I wasn't listening as well to the guests as I had wanted to, because I was too busy trying to think a step ahead. I was so worried there might be a spot of nothing, airspace, dead air or something on the show. And I'm like, oh, I can't have that. I mean, I had all these things going through my head. And the exciting thing is, Julia said, you can ditch the questions. And I just,
Right.
I ditched them, I burned them. I'm like, I'm done with
Right.
questions. But she got me through how to really interview, how to engage, how to really make an interview work, and to quit worrying about everything being perfect and how everything looked, and just all of that, and just make it real. Make it real with the interviewee and me, and get the story out there and the content out there that's important, that people want to know. Quit
Right.
worrying about all the other stuff. And the more she worked with me, the more confidence that I got about being behind the camera. I've never been camera shy. I've never been shy of anything.
But
But
it's not always about that, Mari. You bring up a good point right there because some people think that they've been doing it a while, but we don't know what we don't know. So sometimes we get so used to seeing ourselves a certain way that we don't realize that we're actually not coming across the way we think that we're coming across, right?
Mhm.
So
Yes.
we're being perceived differently, and I think I think there are a lot of people out there that really fall victim to this, because they've done it a certain way for so long that they're kind of set in that way, and that can keep people from going to the next level, actually.
Well, I truly believe if you want to be better at something, you have to be open to listening to someone who knows what they're doing.
Right.
I had to be open to listening to you and not be stubborn and say, but I want to do, or what. I just threw all that out the window and I said, okay, Julia, what do I need to do to get better at what I'm doing? And what are the steps? And after working, now I'm still a work in progress.
Aren't we all? We all are.
We all are. I will
Yeah.
never
Oh,
be.
Oprah, I don't mean to cut you short there. Oprah Winfrey, I think it was Oprah that somebody asked her if she could rate herself on a level of 1 to 10, what would she rate herself as? And she said, a 3. A 3. This is Oprah. And I mean, the highest paid woman in the world or whatever, because, and I think this speaks to whatever level you are at, there presents a different set of challenges. So when it's like being a 2-year-old and then being a 12-year-old and being a 22-year-old. At every age, you face challenges in your life. The same thing goes true for a performer or a presenter, or a TV show host, an author, whatever you want to call it. But at every level that you get to, you're faced with different challenges. So you have to learn how to really become level at that challenge before you can rise. And then you've got new challenges, and then so forth and so on, until you grow and you reach the top, you reach your goals. And then even then it's debatable. I think we're all a work in progress. So yeah, and you are great. You listen and you try new things and you take chances.
Mm.
Take chances. And that's one thing that's really important, particularly as a performer, presenter, speaker, is that you gotta make choices on stage. Actor, they tell you that you choose. A singer chooses how to hit a note, but you have to be skilled enough to know how to choose. Same thing goes for speakers.
Well, what I thought was interesting throughout this process so far is that when you were talking about confidence, I'm like, well, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to
Right.
get up on a stage. I'm not afraid of the camera. I'm not afraid of anything. But that's not what it's all about. I mean, it is part of it. There is serious stage fright people have, and they need confidence to overcome that. But it's so much deeper than that. It's learning about your message. It's learning about how you're getting yourself out there in the right way. I have more confidence now of leading and speaking and being on camera and knowing that my message is what it's supposed to be. And it was exciting that you are so awesome at messaging, because that's something a lot of people don't realize. They can get up on a stage like I could, talk to everybody, and they could get their message across, but it might not have necessarily been in the right way that people receive it. And that was something big that I learned from you. I mean, I can tell people all about what I do. I can speak about my book. I can speak about a lot of things. But if the audience isn't receiving the message that I really want to get out there, all my talking isn't going to do any good.
It doesn't do any good. And I call this, what you're talking about, persona and power. All right. And it's really having an understanding of that. And it's a lot more subtle than people think it is. But the smallest of things can sometimes make the biggest of difference, particularly when we're talking about communication and perception from other people. So it makes a huge difference. And this is where confidence comes in, because in persona and power in particular, people sense things. So you, like you said, you might not be fearful, but there are things you're giving off that you're giving yourself away. And you don't even recognize them. And when I say you, I mean you as in universal. We all, human
Mhm.
people, we give off a vibe. And sometimes it's not the vibe we want to give off, and we don't even know we're giving it off. And I think that that's where what you're talking about, Mari, really comes into play. And that is actually leveling up. A beginner is just worried about stepping out on the stage. They're just scared to death. They're just scared, like, "Oh my god, alright, will they like me? Will they judge me? Will they be okay with it?" But when you get past that level, you start talking about more advanced things. Persona. We're talking about power. Are you in charge or are they in charge? Who's in charge of the room when you're on the stage? Think about that. How do you get the power back if you lose it? These are really important things to really understand, and most people don't think about them, but they're very, very, very important in a presentation.
Well, you notice when you're in a room of people, and there's some people that when they walk in the room, they just command.
The command, there's an authority there. By just and that is
Yes.
that's what I mean by persona and power. I don't some people wanna take this word power like, I don't mean like domination, world domination. This is not what I'm this is not what I'm
No.
talking about. Let me be very clear about this. This is personal power that you have, and people know if you have it or not. They
Yes.
know. Just like a kid, you can't hide stuff from kids, and, they'll just tell you right up front. The kids, they don't have a filter. They just tell you the truth right up front.
Mhm.
People know. Case in point, you can have a performer up on stage, and they can be insecure. Let's just say insecure. That's a kind of a blanket statement, and they're not making eye contact. They don't know their lyrics, or they don't know what's coming up next, or whatever. They're not really making any mistakes, but the audience feels their insecurity because there's an
Uh-huh.
exchange of energy there. All right. So that's back and forth. The audience doesn't know what they don't like, they just don't like it.
Right.
So then you, as a presenter, you don't get good reviews. You're lackluster, you're boring for whatever reason, and you don't understand why. And the audience can't really tell you why, nor did they even try. They're just like, next. It's kind of a brutal place to be.
It is. Well, when I was saying, like, when someone walks into the room and they, command authority, I think a lot of that definitely has to do with confidence in what they know and what they're doing. And what I love about you is at first I thought you only worked with people, for singing or being on TV or whatever the case may be. But if you think about it, people who are leaders of companies like CEOs, they have to walk into a boardroom or they have to do a presentation, a huge multi-million dollar presentation. And their presentation, their message might be awesome and can sell no problem. But if they don't have the confidence behind the talking, when they're standing up there in front of everyone, that inner confidence, that inner, like power, like you were talking about, it can all go south so quickly. And I wish more people would realize that, not just someone like me who has now a podcast, I had a TV show, now a podcast, and I do some speaking and in front of groups of people. And I love what I've learned, and I can't wait to learn more. Like, I'm really excited to keep growing with that. But even for CEOs in large corporations that have to really have that confidence and be a leader and command that authority at the front of the room, or for that big sales presentation, you need clear messaging and you need that confidence. And you're the one that can do that for people. I love that.
Well,
Can you?
one of my latest clients that I just worked with was in the ring for six-figure job, wanted a six-figure position, and so we're waiting to hear on the final outcome, but wound up being in the top two for the job. We know that for certain, but it was all about interview techniques, and that in itself is its own, it's its own brand of speaking, and
Mhm.
there's a special way to do it.
Yes.
So that's just one example of people I've worked with, So speaking really crosses a whole lot of boundaries. It's all sort of interconnected. Yeah, very
It
much.
certainly is. Hey, would you like to share with us maybe one of your biggest transformations of a client? Where they were and what they overcame. Like one of your your most wow factor clients?
Well, one of the biggest ones was, and probably it'd have to be hard pressed to be a bigger transformation than this one anyway, even through all the years. But I had a client that that had the motivation and had the passion to get up on the stage, but every single time she went to do it, I couldn't find her. I don't know where I'd have to go hunt her down, and she would be in the bathroom crying every time, like every single time. And I can't tell you, we had showdowns in the, because yeah, not only did it come out in tears, it came out in anger and frustration and, and trying to reach someone that's in that irrational state's difficult, but I didn't give up. I didn't give up. And here we are, um, you know, and she is now standing on stages, some of the biggest stages in front of thousands of people. She's an advocate for the American Heart Association. She is singer and now just she loves it. She lives for the stage. I mean, it's a 180. It's not the same person. And but that just goes to show that she had paralyzing fear. Like, I mean, everyone gets
Yeah.
nervous or gets some level of nerves, or you should. And you may the nerves can keep you sharp. So nerves aren't a bad thing necessarily. And that's a whole nother conversation. But this person had paralyzing fear. It went past just normal stage anxiety. It was severe. And she overcame it. So that just goes to show
Wow.
that with resilience and tenacity and a desire and passion and motivation, you can get through it if you want it bad enough, you can get through it.
That is amazing. No more running to the bathroom. Now she's
Mhm.
running out on stage.
She loves it, and will not miss a chance. Every chance she gets now, she wants to be on stage. She wanted it then too. The fear was stronger than the desire. It was stronger, and we had to flip the script.
What an amazing transformation.
Yeah,
I
it is pretty much. It's
How
really
exciting.
so that's what I'm talking about. Like and you think about it, okay, yeah, now she's singing and speaking. This changed her life though. This is what I want to impress on people when I talk about this level of confidence. It didn't just change her skills on stage. It changed her life. It changed the way she felt about herself. It changed her abilities. It changed the way other people view her. People sat up and started taking notice of this person. She found her tribe. She found where she fit in. She chased her dream, her passion. So when you start thinking about it in that way, this is way bigger than just getting up and giving a presentation. It's way bigger than that. This is a
That's
life journey and a life transformation for you to become something else, something bigger, something better.
that's amazing. I love it. I love to see, transformation in people, positive transformation. And I mean, it's got to be exciting to be in your shoes, to watch people
Is-
grow, to see like from paralyzing stage fright to
Mhm.
now she can't wait to get on any stage. And then in what's happened in her life personally as well, the confidence and
Right.
love
Well,
it.
but I see it that's an extreme case, but I even see
Mhm.
it, I see changes in other people that I work with too, where they all of a sudden they start to understand their personal power, where they understand. Yeah, I mean, you're a great example of that, Mara. You start to understand what you bring to the table, and you realize, that you have gifts that need to be expressed, but you can't express them if you're like sitting in the corner. You can't do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
God gives us all gifts and talents, and they're supposed to be for everyone else. Like what the gift he gives us is to serve others, right?
That's right.
And if we have that gift, but we hide it, then we're not glorifying God with the gift that he gave us.
That's exactly right. I mean, I did it myself. Like, and I can talk about this because I've been through this process, where I'm working with people on their own confidence, but I was afraid to use my own voice for fear of being put down because I'm direct. And what I started to discover is that that's not a bad thing. That's actually my gift that God gave me, is the gift to speak the truth from a place of service and love, not to sugarcoat. So I'm not that coach that's going to be like, "Oh, it's so good. Everything's well." I'll tell you it's good when it's good, but I'm here to make you better, right? So I had my own internal work that I had to do as well, and to be okay with with that, those things in myself that I wasn't unsure about. And I didn't even know that I was unsure about them. So this is what I want to say, that sometimes we don't even recognize things within ourselves, and they're drawn out of you. And then all of a sudden you
Mhm.
start to say, wow, here I am, I'm working with people on their own confidence, and I'm not standing in my own power. So when I discovered that, it really changed things, really changed things for me. So it took me to the next level. So this is what I'm here to do, and sometimes that requires healing from some things that have happened in your past. Like I said, for example, being told calm down, if you're a strong female, or if you need to calm down, or you need to not give your opinion, or children are supposed to be seen and not heard. And the one that gets me, and blows my mind as someone who loves music and really understands the importance of music in this world, is a child 7 years old not getting to be in their school choir, and the teacher telling them that they're terrible. 7. Their voice hasn't even developed yet. This is when they should be learning about it, right?
Mhm.
But I can't tell you how many people as adults that I have worked with that were told when they were a
Mhm.
child they needed to be quiet because they were terrible. It blows my mind.
I
I
was one of them that told you that.
Yeah.
I way back in elementary school, my, choir teacher, she after the first everyone had to do the do re mi test, and I failed, and she said, "You don't ever have to do that again." And I didn't, and, it does something to you because my dream as a kid was to be a rock star. I always wanted to be a rock star.
We have
And
auto-tune.
so I went my whole life thinking, "I can't sing, so there goes that," and dream over. Dream
Well,
over
not
instantly.
only that, but also something crushed within your spirit where it comes to
Mhm.
music, which is an amazing release. Whether you do it professionally is irrelevant or not. I mean,
Right?
music brings so many other things to our lives that we can't get anywhere else. It really blows my mind. Now, I am not for telling, let me be clear about this. I don't tell people, if somebody can't sing on pitch, I'm not going to sit there and tell them that they're wonderful and that they need to go to college, and or
Right.
they go out and try to get themselves a hit. I mean, hey, there's people that have to be auto-tuned, but I'm not gonna do that. This is not what I'm saying, but where I come in is that I get adults who were
Yes.
told this as children. So there's a there's amount of healing that's involved, and you would be amazed that some of these adults I get can sing like a bird, but were just so demoralized when they were young. Yeah, I go back. I had a teacher when I was in 2nd grade, and my family, we laugh about this all the time, and God bless her soul, she's not with us anymore. I think she was, how when you're in the 2nd grade, everybody's old, but I felt like she was like 100 and something then, so and I remember one day her saying, "Everybody cut, okay, so get your bluebird no, get your picture out of the bird, and here, get your red color, and let's color our bird red." I raised my hand. "Yes, Julia. Can I color my bird blue?" She said, You asked too many questions. So that was my second grade teacher. Now, that's a funny story. Obviously, it did not keep me from being creative. But people laugh about it all. My family still laughs about that and shake their head at her telling me that I asked too many questions because I just wanted to be different. I just wanted to color my bird a different color as a second grader.
Mhm. Yep.
It's a funny story, but I think that there's so many things that happen to us when we are young and we are told that we can't, that we need to be quiet, that we don't have anything worth hearing, or no one listens to us, or no one
Mhm.
wants to hear you. And it stifles us as we start to grow. And we may have wonderful ideas, but you have convinced yourself along the way that no one wants to hear them. And that
Yep.
is where I come in, because it's not just about having the ideas, but it's about expressing them too.
Mhm.
So,
But I love your approach too, though. There's 2 sides to that. You have to tell people the truth,
yes.
whether they wanna hear it or not. So, if there's something that I'm doing or, whatever it may be, or anybody actually that you work with, you have to tell the truth. Like
Yes.
you said, you can't sugarcoat it because there's no way that I would have learned what I've learned so far if you'd have sugarcoated everything and said, "Oh, you're doing great." Well, then if I'm doing great, why why did I hire you?
That's ex that's exactly right. You're not gonna move the
Yeah,
needle. You're not gonna move the needle. I just had
right.
someone come to me, and they were auditioning for a small community theater program, and was so excited about this audition until it came down to cast the audition, and the director called people and said, "Well, I wanna cast you this unless you wanna be something else." Now, what that's saying is, "This is what I'd like for you to be, but if you can pick, because I don't wanna hurt your feelings. So you can be whatever character you wanna be in the show." It doesn't operate like that.
Mm,
And the second I heard that, I realized that the program is okay. So because there's who's running the show, not the
right,
director.
right.
Same goes for a coach. And everything I do tries I come from a place of service and love. It's to make a person better, but there's no, you know, it's the truth. And sometimes the truth stings a little with all of us.
Well, of course, but if you don't get the truth, you can't like you said, you can't grow.
Can't go.
How can someone get any better if you're gonna basically lie to them? I mean, they need to hear the truth and they need to know how to go forward.
That's
And I
exactly.
love that. And you're not afraid to do that because it is out of love. And it never comes across like crass or condemning or anything like that. It's always, you know, this is what it needs to be. Like it's a fact. It is what it is, and we need to do something about it. And then we do, and I love it.
And
And
I wanna and let me address something else that I think people fall into as well. They talk about, "Well, good enough." And this is something that I wanna tell you right now. Okay, if you wanna be average, that's fine, but if you wanna work for Cirque du Soleil, or you wanna be, the best basketball player in the world. Okay, let's say you don't even wanna do that, but you wanna be a number 1 book-selling author like Maury, okay? You don't Being good enough is not enough. You
right.
have to strive for being the best that you can be. So if anyone tells you, "Oh, don't worry about spelling things correctly. Don't worry about." I'm sorry. If you can't do the little things, you can't do the big ones. So keep it in mind. What do you want? You wanna be recognized? You wanna be known for your authority in this field? You gotta put in the work, and you gotta be teachable, you gotta listen, and you gotta want it, because if you don't, if you don't get out and practice your basketball shots or whatever, the guy next door will. He wants it
Yes,
more than you, and he'll do the work. So,
exactly.
yeah.
So you have something coming up you need to tell everyone about. I think this is something that everyone's going to want to hear.
I do. I'm excited about it, actually. I have a big launch coming up on May 15th. I'm going to be launching my new speaker program from lackluster to superstar speaker program. It's a 6-week program, and it's gonna take people through the journey so that they can really step into this a bold, confident version of themselves. So it's 5 weeks of training, all right? Each week, you'll have exercises to do, and then the last week, we have a hot seat where you will actually be executing everything that you learn, and we'll get the critiques and the feedback from it in a very safe environment before you have to
Mhm.
step out on the stage and, get roasted somewhere, which I don't recommend. I've had clients do it before, though. We work, 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 and then they go take something they've never done before, and I'm like, "Oh, God."
Oh no.
I've had them do it. And I'm like, "What are you thinking?" So anyway, we're gonna be working towards that, and then we will put it up on the stage and give you feedback for it. So that's my program. It's gonna be opening up on May 15th, and we'll be starting the program after that. But the good thing is, the exciting thing about this, though, is there's gonna be a big bonus. There's going to be the 30-day the 30 days program that I have is going to be a bonus that you get. That's actually modules that you can do on your own as well.
Oh,
And that is going to be part of my launch. And I'm really excited about that, to be able to offer that as a special treat for those who go ahead and sign up for the 6-week program. So,
nice bonus. I actually love this style of this workshop because I love that on the last week they get to
yes,
be in the hot seat. They get to actually perform, if you will,
absolutely.
and be. I mean that is awesome. That's going to be good for everyone. Oh wow, I highly recommend this new workshop. That sounds exciting, and actually working with Julia is such a blessing. Anyway, regardless, you just can't go wrong. I have learned so much. Like I said, I'm still a work in progress. I will be for the rest of. We all are work in progress forever,
We
right? Until we
are.
go to heaven. And I absolutely, but I'm so thrilled with how far I've come, and it hasn't been that long.
You've done amazing. Just watching your growth and really the things that you're going for, the goals that you're setting are bigger and bigger, and your ability to reach them are greater and greater. And as you keep going, it's been fun for me to see your journey as well, which is what keeps me going and keeps me doing what I do, is to be able to, become friends with my clients, as we've become friends, and then watching their growth and I just feel, I mean, I don't know, it fills my heart with joy to be able to know that it is making a difference, and then you get to share your gifts with the world.
Well, there were things that I didn't even think about doing until we started working together. They just weren't on my radar.
Right.
And the more I learned and the better I became at some of these things, the more I even opened my mind to doing more things. And I was kind of hiding some of my talents and gifts from God, from the world, that I really need to get out there that will help others. And that's a disservice to other people when you don't help them, right? When you don't use your God-given talents for to help, the greater good.
And a
That
service to you and to God. It's a triangle. Other people, to you, and to God.
exactly. And I want to glorify him. And how can I do that if I have no confidence and no direction of how I'm supposed to do all of this? So that's why we all do different things.
That's exactly right. No one is no two people are the same.
Mm-mm.
So you have
No,
to dig down and find it.
exactly. So I highly recommend. Oh my gosh, let's see. We have so many different areas here to cover. I would say if you are if you are a speaker or want to be a speaker, a singer or want to be a singer, a leader or want to be a leader, maybe you've been given a leadership role and you're just not quite ready for it. Maybe you want to try to get that job and you're not sure how to do an interview. I mean, there's so many there's a huge list, but there's so many places where you need confidence in your speaking
That's right.
and your messaging and everything. So I covered some of them. So there's so many different ones, as I just said, that so many ways that a confidence coach and speaking coach can help you. But Julie, I want you to give us a few more minutes of, at the end of the show here, who all you can serve and how you can serve them, and then where they can find you. I'm going to be putting in the show notes all about, how to get to your workshop and everything, but still just let us know what's the best way to get a hold of you and who out there needs Julia Langley.
Well, the best way to catch me, and we can repeat this again, but I'll tell you right now, it's go to julialangley.com. Easy enough. myname.com. And that will get you into my list, my inner circle here, all right, my community. That way you can get all of these updates that are coming out on the launch. I don't email people crazy all the time, but I will send out some updates about what's going on and what I'll be offering coming up soon. So be sure to do that. In addition to that, I serve like you're saying, Mari. I serve a lot of. My clients are they're very different. Like I love that. Very different. I do have some musicians, and I know people associate me with that, but people also associate me with speakers. So I work with, like you, Mari, television show hosts. Okay, authors who are really looking to get out there and sell their book, and they want to get out on a circuit. They want to give some talks, some presentations. Authors are great. And a lot of times authors are introverts, and so they don't want to speak, but you have to do it. You got to communicate. You got to communicate to get your message out there to the world. Interviewees or interviewers. Anytime you've got a Q&A, questions going back and forth, anyone in that position, I can help you because there's some tricks to the trade to know how to prepare for something like this, and also for those that are on the flip side of it, that are doing the interviews as well. And anyone in thought leadership or a coach. A coach is great because I work with messaging and can help you get your message clear and execute it with clarity as well. So it's not enough just to write it, but you got to be able to speak it into action. So those are the people that I work with as well. So anyone that uses their voice, anyone that uses their voice.
Yes.
So, and I'm pretty sure that's most of us. So
Most of us, yes.
pretty much most of us. Yeah.
Oh, Julia, thank you so much
It's been
for
a pleasure.
being here again with me. I'm so excited this time. The audience is going to get so much information regarding, like confidence in speaking. There's so much that I didn't know until I worked with you for a while. And I wanted so bad to share that with everyone because a lot of people don't realize it. Like we were talking about earlier, so many people, they don't see it. And or they're so used to doing things a certain way, they don't even think outside the box, like thinking
That's
about doing
exactly
it
right.
another way.
I
And
would
you
say
always
that's quite often the case. Yes.
mhm. And you always think outside the box. I love it. I just love it. And I have had
Performer, Maury. I'm a circus performer. We're never in the box.
I
We're
love
out of the box.
it. Always out of the box. I love that. Well, you know what? Down the road, I just might have to have you back again, only because I have a lot of work yet to do. We have a lot of work to do on me yet. And
Yes,
so,
we do. And listen, I'll have some new things coming up towards the end of the year. So maybe I'll come back on and we'll talk about those. I'm not going to announce that yet. We'll get through this
really,
launch first, and then you can see what's next. But it's some fun, exciting things. So stay tuned. Stay tuned.
yay, I can't wait. There's always something new and awesome coming out with Julia Langley. Thank you, everyone. I hope you got a lot of really great information today from Julia. Thank you so much for joining us and have a blessed day. Thank you to all who made it possible for this show to be produced. A special thank you to Jared Miller for allowing us to use the song Truth, written and performed by Jared Miller and Vaughn One. Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed by the guests in this program do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Maurirene. See you next time. Have a blessed day.